Kempire is brought to you by.
Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe. It is a subscribers only live chat, and be sure to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. As always, guys, be sure to let me know where you are watching from, and as always, let me know what you think of what we've discussed. I have already dropped a call-in link for our members. Yes, that's one of the multi-perks that you get to be a member here on the channel. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. Where is everyone watching from? I am live from New York City. It's been like a cloudy day, but fairly warm, pretty warm. It's for February. We only have one more day of February. Oof. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Let me try and get it all out there. Happy Black History Month. The shortest month of the year. They already took it off of Google's dates already. And they put Gulf of America. It's all right. It's all right. Our ancestors went through a lot more, okay? So let's just keep that in mind. Anyway, so yesterday we were live to report to you the breaking news that Karen Huger from the Real Housewives of Potomac had been sentenced to 2 years in jail, 1 year suspended. She was taken into custody after her hearing. Our friend from the What Else Is Going On podcast, Taria Faison, was on the ground and called in yesterday to give us the full details. So if you missed it, she called in and gave us what people were wearing, conversations that she had, what she witnessed. And one of the things that she witnessed was Karen making a statement and before the judge made his final decision. Okay? We've heard many things that have come out from this sentencing. The judge was not trying to hear anything in regards to Karen's excuses. The judge seemed very annoyed that she's done this in the past at least 3 times. We said if she's been caught 3 times, she's probably done it so many other times. As we also said to you, the prosecutors ahead of this felt like Karen was not taking this seriously. They talked about the rehab facility that she went to was more like a luxury resort. They brought up her 3 past DUIs along with this one. They also talked about the body cam footage. You and I, all of us, have looked at what Karen has said throughout the season of The Real Housewives of Potomac, and we were just like, you thought that you would be vindicated? I think Karen really thought that we would never see the body cam footage. But one of the most important things that I got out from yesterday was when all of you, some of you that are experts in the field of alcoholism, therapy, HR, all of you helped us paint a picture of what the future could look like for Karen. Alcoholism is a disease. Alcoholism is very serious. But by the end of this hearing or even leading up to the sentencing, it felt as if Karen really felt like she didn't have a problem. And after you hear her statement, you might still feel like, I don't know if she really knows that she has a problem. Or you might feel like, oh, well, maybe she feels like she does have a problem because she does talk about her sobriety in this audio that was released by Fox DC 5. They were the same folks that had the full 30 minutes of her body cam footage. Okay? So before we get to that, as you also know, Ray Huger spoke in court. Taria revealed that as well. Taria also revealed the last words that Karen said to Ray before she was taken into custody. I think a lot of people feel bad for Ray. Some people don't. Some people feel like he should have held her more accountable. This could have been avoided. Maybe. We don't know. She is also a grown adult. But what we do know is that Ray Huger was there the night that she was getting arrested for a DUI. He actually showed up because I'm sure she probably called him. Showed up and he looked scared. He looked concerned. And God only knows what Ray Huger has been dealing with over the years, behind the scenes, everything when it comes to this. So leading up to her sentencing yesterday, we had a lot of details in regards to Karen's plea for the judge to give leniency. So she talked about losing her parents back to back. She talked about being in a leadership role of the Real Housewives of Potomac, which led a lot of us, especially those of us that have worked in human resources, because we were sort of like, well, Bravo can't technically get rid of her. She's admitting to having a disability, having a disease. They can't technically get rid of her. But then she says in this plea to the court, this leadership position on being on the Real Housewives of Potomac has caused me to have a lot of stress between losing my parents, between being SA'd when I was in college. All of this has made me increase my antidepressants. She talks about the use of antidepressants in her statement, along with alcohol, and not realizing that she can't do both. So we're going to get into Karen's statement in just a second, but if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's easy, it's free, it's one way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels will start to show up on your Explorer page. All right, so if you want to support us in any way, like the video, share our channel for other people. Sharing is caring. Tell a friend to tell a friend, okay? But first, Jazelle was here in New York City, I believe it was, is where she had her, I guess she's having a one-woman show. Has anyone gone? Is it good? Is it fun? We just had a one-man show at the Greenwood 42. Shout out to those of you that bought the live stream ticket. You still have access to it until, I think, tomorrow or maybe midnight tonight. I don't know. Mama Allie or Foxy, you guys will let me know if you have access to it tomorrow as well, because I know it's like a full week, okay? But if you're a member of the channel, I will, of course, get a recording of it and you'll see it first, okay? All right. So before we get to Karen's final statement to the court before her sentencing, where we found out that she was the judge sentenced her to 2 years in jail, 1 year suspended, meaning that she will get 1 year. However, okay, people are saying that they think that she will spend maybe 6 months in jail. I think 6 months, though, I mean, especially if you're not used to being in jail, 6 months, a day is going to feel like a lot. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jan. Jan says, I watched the live stream and it was such a good show. Thank you so much, Jan, for being there and being a part. Shout out to quite a few of you got the live stream ticket. Once we do our next New York City show, we'll do another live stream option. We're not doing it for every venue. This is why it's important to come to the show. And every show is different. Okay? Okay. So when Taria called in yesterday to give us, a play-by-play of what went down during the sentencing, she said it was a packed house. There was someone at one particular point streaming it on Reddit. I didn't even know you could stream on Reddit. You can stream on Reddit, y'all? SLYA says, live stream crew here. If you were part of the live stream crew, let us know in the live chat. And if you were part of the replay crew, let me know if you were part of the live stream crew for the Kempire After Dark live show in New York. Okay, Jamaki says, love the live stream as well. Thank you, Jamaki. All right. So what we got from Taria yesterday was a play-by-play of what happened. She talked about how Karen's defense team talked on and on. I wouldn't expect them to do anything less. This is what they're paid to do. Remember, this legal team is not the same legal team that represented her in the trial. She got rid of them and hired this new legal team. So they wanted to really plead her case. Okay? And in that case, they literally, all right, Nicole. Nicole says, live stream crew, appreciate you guys. In the, ahead of this, sentencing, they came up with every reason as to why the judge should be a little bit more lenient. Antidepressants that she was on, her leadership position on RHOP, okay? Just everything that she had gone through, the loss of her parents. So all of that. So I think a lot of people, including Ashley Darby, were completely shocked at the year that Karen received. But first, Jazelle. So Jazelle, during her live show, I have not seen a video of this. I've only seen just transcript of it. So Jazelle said this during her live show. Shout out to our friends over at Jay's Reality Blog, because you know what we do over here. We cite our sources. So Jay writes this: Giselle Bryant weighs in on Karen Yuger's sentencing. She says, "I am shook. This just happened today. I do not have her wigs." What? Then she says, "In all seriousness, I'm concerned for her safety. Karen ain't cut out for jail. I pray that she's okay, and that the Lord is with her." I mean, look, I know some people are coming at Jazelle for making a joke. We have to remember the setting. She's in a setting where you're on stage. So there were some serious things that we talked about during my live show that we added a little of humor to. Okay? So Jazelle wishes her well. She says, "In all seriousness, I'm concerned for her safety. Karen ain't cut out for jail." I mean, some people think that Karen will be the prison mother like we saw over with Jen Shaw or with Teresa Giudice. But we have to remember, those were federal prisons. Weren't those like the cupcake prisons? Okay, Boone says, "It's jail, not prison. She'll be safe." But we're talking about the county jail. I don't know if she'll be safe. Because if we compare the prisons that like Jen Shaw and Teresa Giudice were at, I don't know. Look, I don't care. I'm not cut out for jail or prison. I'm not going to either. Okay. I don't want to see an hour, a second in nobody's prison. I remember, this was years ago. I forgot, was this grammar school? We went to our local precinct, and I was like, oh no. I don't even remember why we went there. It was strange. Okay. I don't even like it if you're going past a precinct and you see them escorting somebody in handcuffs. I'm like, nope, never me. No, I don't even want to be associated. Even if I'm walking by. Nope, no association. Blinders on. Okay. I don't know. Either way, whether or not it's nice, I'm sure she will be safe. This is what happens when you make these types of decisions. I feel for her. One of the conversations that we had yesterday was about sympathy. People have a little sympathy. I think the biggest sympathy that we could have is holding someone accountable, because maybe if Karen had went to jail the first DUI or the second DUI, or the third DUI, we would not be on the fourth DUI. And she's very lucky that no one was harmed in any of those instances. So that's what Jazelle had to say in regards to Karen's sentencing. On Tamron Hall, Tamron, I noticed that the coloration of your show has gotten better. It's important to note, I've talked about it before, because I was like, that's a very yellow tint. What's going on? Anyways, focus. Speaking of yellow, that's my own fault. I was doing my taxes, so I was like, I had to have bright light in the studio. Who cares? All right. And thank you. The social deviant says, Gunkle Kemp is too cute to be locked up. Can you tell that to the man? Shoot, that's why I said, let me get my taxes done. All right. Let me play for you Tamron Hall speaking with Ashley Darby about Karen's sentencing.
Before we talk about the divorce, I do want to ask you about Karen Huger.
Yes.
You both started. You're the original part of the original cast members of the show, and Karen was just sentenced to 1 year in jail for the 2024 DUI arrest. She had a 2-year sentence, 1 year in jail, 1 year was suspended. You've been friends, you've gone through ups and downs. You were there the very first season of this. I know you spoke briefly about it on the reunion show. Mm-hmm. What's your reaction?
I really do encourage everyone to keep Karen in your prayers. I really care about her. And I learned this on the train coming here today, and I cried like a baby. I did.
Here's the thing. Some people don't believe Ashley's... I think Ashley just... I do believe that Ashley cares about Karen Huger. I think it's just the way that Ashley presents herself, especially when she's so messy on Real Housewives of Potomac. It's hard to take her seriously, but I do believe that she cares about Karen. There are a lot of people that love Karen that don't know Karen, that just watch a show. Can you imagine knowing Karen? And Jazelle just said on the reunion, Karen is even better than people think off of the show. So I can only imagine, even this season, you notice a kinship, despite the little shady, Uber gift cards that she gave Karen. You notice a sweetness between Ashley and Karen this season, a little bit. Okay. Tears of Joy says, "I believe nothing Ashley is saying." I mean, who am I to judge if she's lying or not lying? I believe that she cares about Karen. Again, we don't know the scope of these relationships. Remember, they started this show together when the show was just a baby. They are the OGs. So there is a connection. And very much like what we've said, I wouldn't want to go to jail. So imagine your friend or your coworker that you've known for a very long time goes to jail. And you know that they're not made out for jail. Just something. Koala says, "I believe it." Yeah. Foxy says, "I think Ashley was honest." Yeah, I mean, what's the point in lying? She could easily just say, that's terrible. She didn't have to say, I bawled like a baby. I could see her bawling like a baby. I think we all were sort of like, whoa. Like, we expected maybe 6 months. We didn't expect 2 years with 1 year suspended. And I believe, 5 years probation? So she's got to be on her P's and Q's. She also has to put one of those devices in her car. At her age, I don't even know why, in this 2025, where there's Uber and drivers and things like that, and you're married to the Black Bill Gates, why don't you just have a driver? I mean, I get it. Some people just like to drive. No, let me get in the back of that car and you drive me. But here's the problem. It's not even just about driving while intoxicated. She clearly has a problem with alcohol. And that has all kinds of other effects on your health and your family and your body, all of that. So there could be a lot more going on in regards to just the driving aspect. The driving aspect is important because this is why you're going to jail. But clearly you also have another issue that you need to be dealing with. So if you're just joining us, we were just talking a little bit about the cast's reaction to Karen Huger's sentencing. Jazelle spoke about it during her live show. On Tamron Hall, Ashley Darby spoke about it. Fox DC 5 released the full statement that Karen spoke at her sentencing yesterday. As you know, Taria Faizan from the What Else Is Going On podcast called in and gave us a little bit of an overview of what was said, what went down. Okay, so I'm going to play for you what Karen said during her statement, during her sentencing.
Hugo, is there anything you'd like to say before the court imposes its sentence?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll be happy to hear from you.
I prepared a statement. Didn't want to forget anything. Your Honor, I want to apologize for taking this case to trial, but I also want to thank you for allowing me to have the trial. I think it was the mirror I needed to take a hard look at myself and the direction I was headed in. I think my prior cases, I showed up to court, followed the advice of my lawyers, got the case resolved, and went my way. I like to think I took the cases seriously, but this certainly has been such a much different experience for me. An experience that demanded that I take a look at myself, truthfully. I think for many years I was putting a Band-Aid on some personal history that was leaving me very unhappy. It is possible that just like taking daily medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, I just thought medication for depression and anxiety was something that came with the territory of getting older and having more responsibilities and more to worry about. And certainly there was a sense of entitlement that I should be allowed to keep on consuming alcohol. I have been successful. It's been 15 years since my last DUI. Why should I give up the social indulgence? Well, this case is why. Drinking responsibly, especially while taking medications, mean not drinking at all. I failed at that miserably. I understand how lucky I am that I hit a tree. Thank God I did not hit a pedestrian. In recovery, I was told of a young man named Kevin who hit a tree when he was 17 years old. Kevin was in a coma for 30 days. Kevin is now permanently brain damaged and his life will never be the same. I asked God, why not me? The only answer I could come up with was that I was spared because I have a responsibility to use my unique optic lens and teach others and affect quite possibly millions of people with the message of not drinking and driving. I understand better the brutal clarity of the fact that when you're behind a car driving, you're not just driving for yourself. It's my responsibility to make sure my community members make it to their destination safely as well. I want to thank the officers who came to my assistance that night and apologize for my attitude back on March 19th. They were truly professional and gracious toward me at a time when I was not. The body cameras definitely prove that they were right and I was wrong. I should have handled the situation differently. Your Honor, I have a lot on my plate now, but I understand this is all for a very good reason. I will not let you down. I will not let my community down. I will follow through on everything I am currently doing to maintain my sobriety and everything you ordered me to do.
So a lot of people, including Taria when she called in, felt as if the statement still was Karen not taking any sort of accountability, making excuses, talking about the antidepressants. At the end of the day, with anyone with addiction, it's going to be up to Karen to come to that point where she is able to say, I have a problem. I didn't hear her say that she had a problem. I did hear her talk about her sobriety. I did hear her talk about the past. Again, she's reading a statement. She says at the top of this statement that the reason why she's reading it is so that she doesn't forget anything. This also could have been a statement prepared by her attorney. And I'm sure they reviewed it before she read it and said, we want to cover these key points so that the judge will be lenient on her. When Taria called in, I said, I think if the judge could have given her more time, he probably would have given her more time. Just based off of the history, I'm just so shocked that Karen has had so many DUIs and has not seen jail time. This is her first time. So not only should the people of Maryland and Virginia be mad at Karen, they should also be mad at their judicial system. Because the fact that she has been able to be on the street, she could have taken someone's life after the second one, at the first one, after the second one, the third one, and then this fourth one, because it wasn't checked back then. Ocean Dreaming says, no, Kempire, they have the whole entire proceeding, which I never saw on local news before. Yeah, even Taria, when she said that she went to the sentencing yesterday, she said like everybody was there, including people that worked in the building. So this was big news in the DMV yesterday. And it continues to be big news today. All right. I did post the call-in link. Shout out to our channel members. I did post a call-in link on our community tab. For those that wanted to call in and share their thoughts, I am going to play the audio of Karen Huger's statement one more time for those that are just joining us. We just played, we talked about Jazelle's statement in regards to Karen's sentencing. We also talked about Ashley Darby's statement. But we just played Karen Huger's statement in court, which we talked briefly about yesterday with Taria. Okay, let me just change this out. Okay, let me put up our disclaimer for the callers. Okay. Oh, wait, I said I was going to play this one more time. Let me just play it one more time, and then we will get to the callers.
Huger, is there anything you'd like to say before the court imposes its sentence?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll be happy to hear from you.
I prepared a statement. Didn't want to forget anything. Your Honor, I want to apologize for taking this case to trial, but I also want to thank you for allowing me to have the trial. I think it was the mirror I needed to take a hard look at myself and the direction I was headed in. I think my prior cases, I showed up to court, followed the advice of my lawyers, got the case resolved, and went my way. I like to think I took the cases seriously. But this certainly has been such a much different experience for me. An experience that demanded that I take a look at myself, truthfully. I think for many years I was putting a Band-Aid on some personal history that was leaving me very unhappy. It is possible that just like taking daily medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, I just thought medication for depression and anxiety was something that came with the territory of getting older and having more responsibilities and more to worry about. And certainly there was a sense of entitlement that I should be allowed to keep on consuming alcohol. I have been successful. It's been 15 years since my last DUI. Why should I give up the social indulgence? Well, this case is why. Drinking responsibly, especially while taking medications, mean not drinking at all. I failed at that miserably. I understand how lucky I am that I hit a tree. Thank God I did not hit a pedestrian. In recovery, I was told of a young man named Kevin who hit a tree when he was 17 years old. Kevin was in a coma for 30 days. Kevin is now permanently brain damaged and his life will never be the same. I asked God, why not me? The only answer I could come up with was that I was spared because I have a responsibility to use my unique optic lens and teach others and affect quite possibly millions of people with the message of not drinking and driving. I understand better the brutal clarity of the fact that when you're behind a car driving, you're not just driving for yourself. It's my responsibility to make sure my community members make it to their destination safely as well. I want to thank the officers who came to my assistance that night and apologize for my attitude back on March 19th. They were truly professional and gracious toward me at a time when I was not. The body cameras definitely prove that they were right and I was wrong. I should have handled the situation differently. Your Honor, I have a lot on my plate now, but I understand this is all for a very good reason. I will not let you down. I will not let my community down. I will follow through on everything I am currently doing to maintain my sobriety and everything you ordered me to do.
All right. I just saw that. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring this up. Boom. Hold on. So Fox 5 DC has the full audio. I'm not going to play the full audio just because it's long. And it's like an hour and how long is it? Please hold. It is an hour. So let me just see if I can I want to hear.
Choice to consume. Ms. Uger demonstrated condition. Stupor.
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Uger stumbled around the newly formed accident scene in front of a Moorhead Recovery Center. We need to help Ms. Uger break this curve.
Just driving for yourself. It's my responsibility to make sure my community members make it to their destination safely as well. I want to thank the officers who came to my... Your Honor, I have a lot on my plate now, but I understand this is all for a very good reason. I will not let you down. I will not let my community down. I will follow through on everything I am currently doing to maintain my sobriety and everything you ordered me to do. And I can assure you that AA is going to remain a part of my life for the rest of my life. I will graduate out of programs, probation, and interlock terms will end. But I know that the relationships that I am creating with AA could and should and will last a lifetime. Those relationships are the greatest offer that I can offer you of my terms of sobriety and success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Uger. I appreciate your comments. Karen Uger was convicted by a jury here in Montgomery County of driving under the influence of alcohol. What does it mean to be under the influence? It means that she was affected or altered by the use of alcohol. Before Ms. Uger was arrested, she refused to perform simple physical coordination tests. After she was arrested, she declined to allow the police to administer a breath test to determine the level of alcohol in her bloodstream. Both the coordination test and the breath test would have served as objective evidence as to how much the alcohol she had consumed had influenced her on March 19, 2024. However, the policeman's body-worn camera video at the crime scene provided proof positive of her inebriated state. Ms. Uger consumed so much alcohol that she drove at an exorbitant speed as she entered a quiet, sleepy Potomac neighborhood. She drove so fast and her coordination was so compromised that she flew her car onto and over a median where it sheared off a pedestrian crossing sign and spun around, slamming into a tree and landing on the grass. The impact was severe enough to crumble the front end of her Mazda and leave Miss Uger pinned behind deployed airbags in a drunken stupor. Miss Uger stumbled around the newly formed accident scene. Her eyes were wild and wandered, focusing neither on the paramedics nor the police as they endeavored to ascertain the causes of the accident and her physical condition. Despite her alcohol-induced confusion, they persisted in trying to engage Ms. Uger. Her speech was mostly unresponsive evasive, and slurred. Her disheveled hair and clothes inexplicably never seemed to bother her. Ms. Uger demonstrated drastic mood swings. For example, one minute she was telling paramedic Han how pretty she was, and the next minute she used a crude phrase to dismiss her. She babbled incessantly as she was being driven to and while at the police station. Ms. Uger's bizarre behavior and demeanor were the result of her choice to consume excessive amounts of alcohol. The jury has found the defendant guilty of driving under the influence of alcohol and negligent driving, failure to reduce her speed, and failure to notify the Motor Vehicle Administration of her change of address in 30 days. So what is the appropriate sentence? Karen Uger is no stranger to driving drunk on our public roads. In 2007, she was found guilty of driving while impaired by alcohol here in Montgomery County. She was afforded a sentence called probation before judgment, which prevented her from receiving a license revocation or long-term suspension. This sentence for first offenders in Maryland is typical and usually comes with a requirement to attend an alcohol education program and a lecture from the judge as to what penalty would confront her should there be a reoccurrence. For most people, the uneasiness, expense, ignominy, and lecture from the court deters future drunk driving. One would think Ms. Uger learned her lesson in 2007. In 2008, before the ink had dried on Ms. Uger's probation contract, she was arrested in the Commonwealth of Virginia and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. She had an alcohol level of 0.08 or above, which is above the legal limit. Her case was plea bargained down to a reckless driving offense for which she received no jail time. A mere 3 years later, in 2011, Ms. Uger chose to drive drunk again, selfishly putting her drinking and driving desires and habits ahead of the public's safety. This time she violated the drunk driving laws in a third jurisdiction. She was assessed a fine once again and maybe received a stern warning from the court. Karen Uger certainly had the hang of working the system by 2011. And all prior warnings had gone in one ear and out the other. Maybe getting caught for driving drunk was expensive and time-consuming, but she remained undeterred. The purposes of sentencing are: 1, adequate and justified punishment for the offense and offender. 2, protection of the community. 3, deterrence of the offender and other potential offenders. And 4, rehabilitation. So what should her sentence be for driving drunk this time? Maybe a higher fine than before? A more intense alcohol treatment program? And a lecture from me that if she commits a 5th offense, she very well could go to jail. Would a sentence along these lines really be in the best interest of the people of the state of Maryland? Would it deter anyone, including Ms. Uger, from driving drunk? Would the public be safer when traveling on our roads? The case before us today occurred on March 19th of 2024. The defendant's 4 drunk driving offenses have spanned a 17-year period. Can we believe that she's only driven while intoxicated 4 times in the last 17 years? Or is it more likely that she's been very lucky and her inebriation has gone undetected? The court will neither consider the defendant's celebrity status nor the inane statement she made both at the accident scene and while in the police car after her arrest as a basis for enhanced punishment. She was filled to the gills with alcohol. After Ms. Uger was arrested in March of 2024
I am embarrassed for her. I am embarrassed for her. The way that he is, and look, I don't think he's being harsh. He's laying out the facts. This is a judge speaking in Karen Huger, for those that are just joining us, in Karen Huger's sentencing yesterday. We heard clips about it. Taria Faison told us a little bit about what he said. Now, for the very first time, Fox News, Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., posted the full court appearance. And we already played clips of Karen's statement. This man is laying out all the facts. I have questions in regards to, I guess he was not coming in to give her any leniency at all, despite all the information that was presented. But a lot of people said with all that information presented, the rehab facilities that she went to were not real rehab facilities. You were not taking this seriously. You have gotten by those first 3 DUIs with a pat on the hand, and that is not going to happen on my watch. I appreciate it. He is saying that Karen Huger is a danger to society, and that's why he took her off the streets.
In this case, she spent 6 days at the Maravale Resort in Arizona. Not a rehabilitation or counseling center, but a luxury spa. After the jury convicted her of driving under the influence of alcohol in December of 2024, and 18 years after her first alcohol-related conviction, she sought treatment at the Beachside Recovery Center in West Palm Beach, Florida. The state correctly...
So she had 2 opportunities to go to an actual facility to get real help. And she went to 2 facilities that were like luxury resorts.
Points out that the brochure describes the Beachside Recovery Center as a resort. She is currently enrolled in the SunCloud Health Outpatient Program. How about a program without a summer vacation connotation? Ms. Huger is finally addressing her substance addiction. Better late than never. Her treatment will help her rehabilitate herself if she sincerely wants help. Time will tell. What's the guarantee she's done driving while drunk? Unfortunately, there is no guarantee. Ms. Huger is a very accomplished television personality and entrepreneur. She's the mother of 2 very successful young adults. She's been involved in several impressive civic programs which have substantially aided her community. However, if while driving drunk, Karen Huger had struck a child who was in that pedestrian crossing, killing that child, does anyone think the child's parents would be consoled if told the drunk driver was a reality TV star, a good mother, and had volunteered for several community projects? Logic tells us that if we continue doing the same thing, we will keep getting the same result. We need to help Ms. Huger break this dangerous and destructive pattern and at the same time protect the public. This case demands a different outcome. The guidelines offer the court a wide sentencing range. The floor is probation and the ceiling is probation. If there was ever a time to label guidelines as ludicrous, this is the time. Would it take a 5th, 6th, or 7th alcohol-related violation before the guidelines would recommend stronger medicine than probation? I agree with the state's position based on all the documents I've been giving in the law that the maximum sentence allowed in this case is 2 years.
I have to pause it because this is just confirming for me he has to go within the guidelines, which we already knew. But if he's basically not only shading Karen, he's also shading this legal system that based on her history, she should be facing a whole lot more time. But he has to go within the guidelines of what's in front of him, the law. So the max is 2 years. But basically what I got from what he just said is that's a crock of you know what.
Please stand up, Ms. Huger. The sentence on this court on count 1, driving under the influence of alcohol, is that you serve 2 years at the Maryland Department of Corrections with 1 year suspended. You will serve your 1 year time at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility. You will pay a fine of $2,000. Upon release, you'll be on probation for 5 years. After 3 years, if you have complied with all the conditions of probation, the remaining 2 years will be unsupervised. The conditions of probation are as follows. You must be supervised by parole and probation. Your probation begins upon release from jail or incarceration. Your first appointment with the supervising agent is 2 days after your release from jail or incarceration. And the address is on the sheet. You must report as directed and follow your supervising agent's lawful instructions. I have excluded 2 about work or attend school. I've excluded 3 about getting permission from your agent to change your address. So I've excluded 2 and 3. You must obey all laws. You must notify your supervising agent if you're charged with a criminal offense, including a jailable traffic offense like this. I've excluded 6, which deals with owning dangerous weapons. You must permit the agent to visit your home. 8 is really superfluous. It says you can't possess or sell or drugs or alcohol, etc. That would be a violation of obey all laws that's in there. You must appear in court when notified to do so. There are special conditions of your probation, which I'll address momentarily. Your total, we'll get to that in a minute. Special conditions are as follows. You will not be able to allow to drive any motor vehicle for 1 year after your release from incarceration, regardless of what the Motor Vehicle Administration permits. That starts that year after you're released, after you serve your 1 year sentence. When you resume driving, you will not drive with any alcohol in your system. Upon release, you must have an operable interlock system installed in any vehicle you drive for the duration of your probation. You will enroll and make every reasonable effort to complete any alcohol education and treatment program ordered by your probation agent. On count 2, failure to reduce speed, I sentence you to a $500 fine. On count 3, failure to notify MVA of a change of address, I fine you $100. On count 4, negligent driving, I sentence you to a $300 fine. The total fines are $2,900. That must be paid at the clerk's office. Court's cost you must pay. That's to be determined by the clerk. You'll have to pay a supervision fee of whatever it is. I think it's currently $50 per month. I didn't overlook the other things the state suggested and maybe Mr. Martella in my conditions of probation, but I am not ordering them. Ms. Huger, you have 30 days. You have an absolute right to appeal this case. You have 30 days to note an appeal to the Appellate Court of Maryland. You have 90 days within which to ask me to reconsider my sentence. I can lower it, I can keep it the same, but I can't increase it. You have no right to a 3-judge panel because the overall sentence did not exceed 2 years. The 2 rights that you do have, the 30 days within to note an appeal, must be done within 30 days. Mr. Martella, who's as versed in the law as anyone in this county, can tell you the pros and cons of that, and same with the 90-day request to reconsider your sentence. You can take advantage of both of those rights, 2 of those rights, or 0 of those rights. It's your decision. If you ask for a reconsideration of sentence, that has to be acted upon within 5 years. All right. Is there anything that I didn't address, state or defense?
No, Your Honor. Just confirming
Pardon?
Just confirming. Obviously, there was no probation before judgment offered.
Not even close.
Okay. Just confirming for the record.
And
Did I ask? I didn't ask.
Yeah.
As I understand your order, she's not to drive a car for 1 year after she's released.
Correct.
And
regardless of what the Motor Vehicle Administration says.
Right. And then, is it true that then, after that year is done, then she installs the interlock?
Correct. The remainder of her probation.
Gotcha. Okay.
The probation does not start today. It starts upon release after serving the 1 year.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Everybody did a nice job. This court will stand in recess. All right.
Wow. I mean, again, I think if he could give her more time and more repercussions, he probably would have. She could get a lesser sentence. After a period of time, she could appeal for a lesser sentence. She can also appeal this sentence. I don't think she should. I think that's a waste of time. Do your time. Again, a lot of people believe that Karen Huger will not serve a full year in the Montgomery County Jail. So at the end of the day, Karen needs to focus on, yes, jail, scary, terrible. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Or would I? Let me think about that. I'll get back to you. But the bigger issue here is the fact that a lot of people, including myself, do not feel that she feels like she has an issue. Based off that statement that she read, didn't feel as if she took any accountability. I don't need her to take accountability for me. I need Karen to take accountability for herself. Because clearly she does have a problem. And clearly the judge was not having it. And the judge seems like he is fed up, not just with Karen Huger, but with the system that allowed Karen Huger to be in front of his face for the 4th time in court with a DUI with no repercussions. He was truly disgusted. We also have to keep in mind that body cam footage, which was released to the world, our friends over at Fox 5 Washington, D.C., also released that 30-something minute footage that showed, I don't think Karen thought that the world would see that. I think we never saw that. If that was never in court, she tried to have that not be seen or used as evidence in court against her. Clearly, we know why. But clearly, we understand why the judge said, no, we need this to be included. Because it was pertinent. It showed clearly you were inebriated. And her inebriation only got worse as the video went on. Let me say thank you. We had a couple of, quite a few super chats. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. If you are a member of the channel, I have already dropped the call-in link for the members backstage on the post tab. So I see we have a few members backstage. So I'm going to take these super chats really quickly. But Miss Esquire, thank you so much for being a member. Miss Esquire says 2007, 2008, 2011, and 2024. Why did she say it had been 15 years since she drove drunk? You're lying in your statement to the court. Still lying. And she admitted on Real Housewives of Potomac of hanging out with Mia and then getting behind the wheel of the car drunk. But, I pulled over. You still got behind the wheel. And I don't believe that you called your driver. I don't believe it. Your fourth DUI, you've driven under the influence many times. And maybe in between 2011 and 2024, you did it many times too. You just never got caught. Mama Allie, thank you so much for the super chat. Mama Allie says, it's a good practice to assume you cannot drink with all or any medications. If you question it, call your pharmacist. Don't just assume you can. Yeah. Big Miss Muffin, thank you so much for the super chat. You say, many have lost their lives mixing prescription drugs and alcohol. Too many celebs to name. I do hope Karen gets help. Yeah. Ellen, thank you so much for the super chat. Ellen says the judge is cooking. But he was speaking facts. I don't think he was being malicious. He was just laying out her truth and the truth of the situation. Cherry Blossom, thank you so much for the super chat. Cherry Blossom says she's had enough money to have a driver. She's lucky that she didn't kill somebody. Hopefully that she will get the help that she needs. Yeah. And she had a driver, so I just don't understand. Tasman, thank you so much for the super chat. Tasman says, sorry, but I have no sympathy for someone who blatantly disregards the law. Clankety clank, inmate 613. Dr. Rendy really made that 613 a thing this year. All y'all keep bringing up the 613. All right. We have quite a few members backstage. I want to be able to get off of here by 6 o'clock. Members, respect the timer. Okay? But before I bring up any of the members, we have an attorney backstage, so I want to bring the attorney up first. Hey, attorney, Miss Esquire.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Talking about a real attorney.
What's going on? What is your perspective on this situation?
My perspective is that retort from the judge is very emblematic of what you will hear if somebody has that long of a history of criminal behavior. I know it may be a little jarring for people to hear it, but those of us who sit in court and get our tongue lashings from judges a lot, that is not uncommon. It was very clear that he did not like the sentencing guidelines and that if he could have given her more time, he would have, which is why he gave her such a long probation period. And he made it very clear when counsel asked, does probation start now? Because they want to know, is the year that she's included in jail, is that included in the 5 years? And he made it very clear, no. So that means it's 6 years that she's on the line. And
so why did he suspend one of the years?
I think because it would be probably less likely that he would have given her a longer probationary period if he had made her have the fullness of the sentence. That's what I'm thinking. And he knows she's not likely to probably serve the full 2 years. She'll get out for potentially good behavior if there's overcrowding. There's a lot of different reasons why certain inmates are released early. And I don't think it's right that she won't serve her full year because I think she could use a full year in that sort of space. But I think that he knows she probably won't serve a full year and he wanted to give her a longer, because probation is where he has a lot more flexibility. He didn't have as much flexibility with the sentencing. But in probation, you can put a lot of different requirements on a formerly incarcerated person. And, it's really weird because, as Black people, I think we always have this social justice lens when we look at the criminal system, right? Because we see it working for people who are privileged. And I think we often think of those people as non-Black people. But this is a situation where a privileged person was a Black person and that person was absolutely abusing the system to continue criminality. And so while her sentence might feel hefty, it really, to me, is commensurate with her criminal history. To me, it is. 5 years probation is steep, but for 4 DUIs within a 17-year time frame, and like he said, those are just the times where she was caught.
Yeah.
That shows a pattern of criminality, even if it wasn't, found by law enforcement. The interlock is really interesting because interlocks usually come with a breathalyzer.
Yes.
And so you basically have to do a breathalyzer every time that you drive your car. I mean, he's made her probation extremely limited. Like, she can't drive for a year after she's out of jail.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to impact her ability to work. That's going to impact her ability to gauge socially in some respects. And then having the interlocking device on there for another 4 years, like, that's a lot. That's every car you own, every car you could possibly drive, which is why her lawyers were asking about, does the interlock device have to go on now? Because she has access to vehicles now, right? And they're like, is it now or is it no? He's like, no, it's when she gets out of jail, because they would want to know, if she walks out of here today and get in a car, does she have to have an interlock device on it? Because none of their vehicles probably do have them. Yeah.
No.
I guess my opinion, I'll get out of the legal part of it. My opinion is, I don't know. I still am I cannot imagine how she thought what she was saying on the television was going to line up with reality. It's like, it's too, like, her saying, I'm going to be vindicated. I mean, again, I think that's her hubris. That's how she's been able to navigate the system in the past. So she had good reason to believe that. She had been able successfully 3 prior times to not have this impact her life. So now that I'm talking about it out loud to myself, I'm like, what reason did she have to think that she was going to be held accountable? She's been able to avoid accountability. And so she probably had every reason. That wasn't really delusion, now that I think of it.
Do you think, though, because when those original DUIs happened, she wasn't a public figure? Now she's a public figure, and now this case, including people that work in the building, were all in this courtroom. Now the pressure is also on the judge to be like, okay, this is a public person. What you do here matters.
I think that I can't get into the mind of the judge, and are you hearing feedback? So I'm sorry.
No.
I can't get in the mind of the judge, but I really think the difference here is, like, how close she came to killing herself or someone else. Like, you going into a tree, like, that's different than you swerving in a lane. I mean, yes, I'm sure her being a public person and them not wanting to seem lenient to a public person, but in some respects, she was a public person already in that community. That's how she was probably able to navigate the system the way she did. So I think here it was a thing of, like, how much, I mean, what he said, like, how long we're gonna let this go on? Is it gonna be the 50 DUIs? Is it gonna be the 6? Because you ain't learning. So no, I think she really got before the right judge on the wrong day with the right set of facts.
All right.
And I think the fact that she also didn't do a breathalyzer did not work in her favor. Now, I always advise people, if you get pulled over for DUI, do not agree to a breathalyzer. But I think the fact that they had to rely on the circumstantial evidence within the video, because they did not have any chemical or blood evidence through any testing, that was another reason why that video was always going to see the light of day, because that was the state's evidence of her inebriated state, because they didn't have anything else.
Also, when did they start doing body cam footage? Back then, I don't know if they had body cam footage.
No, they definitely didn't have body cam. I mean, body cameras have been, I don't know, maybe Prince George County or, these richer counties near the DC area, maybe they've had them for a long time, but we've only had body cam footage, body cameras here in the state of Tennessee where I live, maybe in the last decade.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's and so she probably didn't have the benefit of that in her prior. I'm sure she did not agree to a breathalyzer in those past cases either. Then that kind of shows in the way that the original charge got severely reduced down, as he said. So again, she knows how to navigate these systems. And if you don't have a breathalyzer proving alcohol content and you don't have video proof of inebriation, you just have the officer's testimony against this witness, and this witness is a pretty privileged, powerful person, it would suggest that you would either lessen their sentence or get them off on a hand slap. So yeah. that makes sense now.
Okay. Well, Ms. Esquire, we always appreciate you sharing your legal thoughts. So thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, sorry I took so much time.
No,
Kat.
I didn't even. I told you to. That's the whole reason bringing you up first. Thank you so much for calling in.
Bye.
Bye. All right, callers, you won't have that much time. Okay, 1 minute. I really should give you 30 seconds because I'm trying to get out of here. All right, let me bring up Keith first. Keith, what did you want to share about this audio from Karen Huger sentencing yesterday?
Yes. So first of all, hey, Kempire. So first of all, Karen. She really thought she was bigger than the program, huh? But the program is always going to remind you that you are never bigger than them. Okay, she really saw that video, saw that body cam footage, decided to bring it to court and trial and thought she was going to get away with it. She must have thought this was a sitcom or something. Like, this is real life. You're going to jail now. And the fact that she tries to utilize the death of her parents, her position in Real Housewives of Potomac, as well as being essayed in college as a reason as to why she's been drinking, is kind of sad, pathetic, and very much low-hanging fruit. Because one, you had 3 DUIs before your parents passed away, so we can start there. And then secondly, I'm just confused on how being in a leadership position in Real Housewives of Potomac has called you to drink a little bit more when you haven't had a DUI this whole time, but you had 3 DUI before you joined the show. So in fact, I think being on the show actually helped her in maintaining the ability to not get a DUI. And just one last thing, also, I just think it's really sad that she is just going to jail overall, but I'm glad that she is now getting that now the court's actually on the public side and actually sending her right where she needs to be. And hopefully this does help her gain sobriety, but I don't think it will because, once again, she hasn't even said she's an addict. She mentioned everything about being an addict, but she has yet to say she is an addict. So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Sharon's backstage. We'll bring Ms. Sharon up next. Ms. Sharon, what did you want to share about all of this information that's come out?
Hi, Kempire. How you doing, first of all?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine today. One thing I would like to say, Karen has a lot more money that she has to pay for. First of all, let's get this straight. Karen is not going to jail. She's going to prison. That was a correctional facility. So Karen is going, and didn't you hear the judge say she's going to prison? That was a prison. That's not jail, so that's different. She can get into programs while she's in prison to deal with her alcoholism, and it could help on her time to get out early, but it's going to be on a record that she's entering into a prison facility. That breathalyzer interlock thing that has to go into each car, you have to pay for each and every one of those a month. And also she has to pay her probational officer every single month that she's on probation. Even if she dies, they will come to the funeral to make sure that she's dead. That's when she would get off of probation. That she'd have to stop paying that probational officer. So it's a lot more than that $2,900 that the judge said that she had to pay. Karen will be paying a whole lot more for drinking, $50 worth of alcohol. So, and I don't feel sorry for her. She's too old for that. She should have stopped drinking a long time ago. When you're in your 40s, I think you need to stop cutting down on your alcohol if you drink alcohol. And plus, Karen has high blood pressure, so alcohol and blood pressure pills is not good. And I heard that she was taking cholesterol medication as well, and that's not good at all. And then antidepressant medication, she shouldn't have been drinking because alcohol is a downer. So she should not have been drinking alcohol. Do I think she's learned her lesson now? No, because once this is all over with, Karen is going to go back to drinking. And then when she comes home from jail, she's going to find a way to get around the probational officers, about drinking. So no, this is not, she's just doing all this in prison to get out early. So no, she has not learned her lesson. Karen hasn't hit rock bottom yet. And when she does, then she will stop drinking. But and one thing, I told you that facility that Karen went to was in Florida.
You did. Every time you call in, you want to remind us that you're right. Goodbye, Miss Sharon.
Bye.
All right. I'm gonna start. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna start cutting off the amount of calls. So if someone runs long, those of you that are waiting in line, be mad at them when I don't get to your call. Okay, Anthony's backstage. We're gonna bring Anthony up next. Anthony, what's going on? You're muted, Anthony. There we go.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
What's going on?
Kempire, I took notes and I wrote a list.
Okay.
So I'm just going to speed through it all because I know I got a lot of time. So first off, Kempire, you need a TV show. I mean, like, can we call all the members for funding? You got any offers? Can you guest star Keke Palmer? Second thing that I want to say, you be navigating this platform effortlessly. Like, I became a member because I just really fuck with you. Excuse my language.
Thank you.
The third thing, referencing the King conversation, do you want to consider having a reality TV conversation with your members? Like, not us that's trying to be YouTubers, and because I'm not trying to do that. But I think it might be a fun experiment to just bring some of your members in to have a conversation and have a deep dive. And then when you come to Chicago,
well,
I mean, we want you, because I was talking to my girlfriends. I was like, Kempire needs to come to Chicago so we can sit in that audience and crack up.
I didn't realize how many people in Chicago wanted me to come, but I see it now.
Yeah, Chicago wants you, baby. Bravo. You starting telling the Corlews how, I don't know how you be saying the Corlews. Y'all start Bravo, y'all starting turning to him, but on there later. Okay, I just got two more, if that's okay. I know you already cussed people out. Okay, I just want to say, I do feel sorry for Karen's husband. And Jazelle, why are you trying to act like you want to be her friend when you're just trying to get sympathy votes? And then Karen, why didn't you stick up for Monique? Finally, I think you fine as hell. And I just, really appreciate you because you be giving us life. And that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Anthony. Have a good day.
Now get off this platform.
I'm going to remove you. There we go. All right. Kookie's backstage. We're going to bring Kookie up next. Kookie, what did you want to share about this whole court situation with Karen Huger and us finally hearing all the audio from it?
Yeah, I think Karen is mentally unwell. I think that she should not take into consideration anything the public has to say, because a lot of the public sentiment is that Karen needs to be humble. She needs to learn her lesson. And I think the lady is honestly killing herself. And I'm like, people are like, she's arrogant, she's this, she's that, and she's literally killing herself. And I think that to hold her accountable is to just kind of like support like what she has to do. Going to jail is something that's necessary. I would have loved to seen like her be remanded to some other type of facility after the jail sentence, like a treatment facility, and then like just ongoing treatment for like at least 5 years. And I just don't think it's appropriate for people to like attack the reasons why she's saying she's unwell. I am a victim twice of sexual assault, and it changes your life for the rest of your life. And that's something somebody takes from you that you could never get back. It happened to me when I was a child, and it happened to me in my early adult. And I just think that why judge it? Why judge her parents dying? I don't think at any age that's easy to deal with. Judge her for what she did, not for what she's saying is the cause of it, because it could be true. Like, why are we getting on here saying it's not true? There's no excuse that can make drunk driving okay. So it doesn't matter. She's very sick. She's very ill. I think she suffers from a false sense of grandeur. She's delusional. Like, I think she don't think anything is wrong, and she needs some serious, serious help. Like, she is sick. Like, I think she's killing herself.
Yeah. All right, Kookie. Thank you so much for calling in. All right, we have Marquis backstage. We're going to bring Marquis up next. Marquis, what did you want to share?
Kempire!
What's going on?
Hey! So, okay, let me get serious and let me be fast. Kempire, if you've ever been inside a courtroom before, like, and have seen judges be impose sentences, when people talk for themselves, it's almost like, this sounds horrible to say, but it's almost like it doesn't matter, because right after that judge, it really makes you question if what that person just said helped in any way with how the judge is going to respond. And 90% of the time it's like, nope. They say, okay, so the court imposes a sentence of, and it's like, boom, like, it's like they come, like they just hit them with it. And it's like, it's actually really sad. So listening to today's live kind of, brought me back to those moments where I've been in courtrooms and I've witnessed that for people. So that part is almost like, gosh, I want this judge did his research, Kempire. It's almost like he had a speech of what he was going to say before he imposed the sentence. And so it's just sad. And Kempire, okay, I know that's my time. But like I told you last time, how I can't talk about, the person that I worked for, that realm, all I'm going to say is housewives really do, drink a lot more when they're all together. And I personally have witnessed it. I have been the driver to take some of these housewives home. So I don't know. Bravo's got to do something about that. But anyways, Kempire, I love you.
Thank you, Marquis. Take
Bye.
care. Bye. I mean, when we were talking about the reality TV reckoning I think people don't like the messengers that were coming out and speaking out. And a lot of people want to say, Bravo, it doesn't control people from drinking, but they still are an employer. And if a person has a problem with alcohol or hasn't even come to that conclusion, there's still a level of responsibility. And then y'all want to go and watch what happens live. Oh, we're drinking. How about we don't? It's okay if we don't. All right. Scarlett's backstage. We're going to bring up Scarlett, and then we're going to bring up DM, and that will be our last callers for the evening. Scarlett, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How you doing? I just want to say that it's Black History Month, so I had to make myself a member today before February was done, okay? So I'm officially a member, finally.
Thank you.
All right, so I just want to be really quick. So I'm an ICU nurse. I work in the intensive care. And hearing Karen's statement today just reminded me of all the patients in my 10 years of nursing that I've taken care of that deal with alcoholism and deal with alcohol issues. Just like the callers from yesterday when they were talking about alcohol withdrawal, I see that literally every single day in my workspace. And I have seen patients die with alcohol withdrawal because of the seizures that potentiates from that issue. It doesn't look like Karen has ever experienced that, but my biggest concern after hearing her statement is that at some point when she is released, she is very susceptible to that, because the patients that I've taken care of, they will literally stop drinking alcohol, get discharged, and come right back to the point we know their whole lifetime history. So, I'll get into like another time about like what actually happens, what potentiates the seizures, or like the lack of brain activity that occurs when you drink alcohol and what happens. I'll do that for another time.
Wow.
But what she has is extremely serious, and I'm sorry, I'm just about 10 more seconds. She needs what they call dual diagnosis treatment. So dual diagnosis treatment is for people who have psychiatric issues. And on top of the psychiatric issues, they need to take care of the alcoholism they experience. So it's a very intensive treatment, and it's usually in an inpatient hospital system, not at the Four Seasons. So I really hope that Karen really gets the help that she needs, because it is important, because not just for her, but just for everybody else that's around her, because nobody wants to go through that.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Thank you, Scarlett. We appreciate it. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks for becoming a member, Scarlett. One of the biggest things that I took out from covering a story like this, I learned so much from covering these stories and from all of you that come from different walks of life and call in and share. Yesterday, I was shocked. I don't know if I knew this before, but just the withdrawal from alcohol versus withdrawal from other drugs, how dangerous it really, really is. So I think a lot of us learned that. Okay. DM will be our last caller. DM, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. So I think that if Karen would have said a more apologetic statement to the court, which she did not have to make. She started off by saying, "Thank you for allowing me to have a trial." I have actually been to jail. I'm not going to tell you why. I was a kid whenever this happened, but she could have taken the plea when she saw the evidence. And to know that that video was in evidence is just a smack into everybody's face and just shows how righteous her beliefs are in what she did. Now, I won't call her an alcoholic because I have a father who is an alcoholic, severe alcoholic, and he cannot function without a drink. I don't know if she functions without a drink. Do I think her relationship with managing her medication and alcohol, whatever she claimed it was, or does she have a bad relationship with alcohol? Very much so towards damaging her health, where it could be on the route to it. But I never want to call somebody an alcoholic. Maybe she has some psychological. She says she's on medication. Maybe she could get that figured out while she's in the facility. Because at this point, I just don't know what else. All right. Thank you, Kempire.
Thank you so much, DM. Take care. We want to know about why you went to jail. Anyways. Anyway. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to everyone that called in. Guys, we're almost at 1,000 likes. We have over 2,000 of you watching, though. So be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. Let me just say thank you to the super chats that we had. Oh, wait. Ariel says, Kempire, we've been waiting for you in Chicago. You keep going to L.A., D.C., and New York. Not hating. Just add us to the list. Well, first of all, I only did one show in L.A. I went to L.A. The first time was work, but it wasn't a live show. But okay, apparently Chicago, I have to say, I didn't realize Chicago. If you know promoters, DM me. Email is on my Instagram, TheKempire, okay? And then we'll figure something out. I didn't realize Chicago. Calm down. The Girls Club says, I wonder if her original attorney explained in detail what she could be facing if found guilty. I know the scope of the conviction. I'd pled guilty. I still don't believe. Look, there are all kinds of different lawyers. I still don't believe her lawyer saw the evidence against her and the body cam footage and says we could win this. I believe that Karen, even if you look at her statement before being sentenced, shows you the lack of accountability. Her firing those attorneys, again, a lack of accountability. Blame them as opposed to blame myself. Come on. She also tried to claim as if she didn't see the body cam footage. The first time she saw the body cam footage was in court. No, you didn't. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, Kempire, can you play the clap sound for the judge? Oh. I mean, he did his job. AMB, thank you so much for the super chat. AMB says, God has given Karen grace with this sentence. I promise you it could be so much worse. Talk to people who have killed people while drunk driving and then visit the grave of the one you killed. She's so right. This really could have been a lot worse for Karen. The Model Maven, mind you, 4th DUI. Model Maven, thank you so much for the super chat. Model Maven says, thank you for covering this hashtag. Woo cha. It's so unfortunate. Also, me and my baby watch you so much, he gonna think you his daddy. Hey, Papa. Hey, little one. Thank you so much, Model Maven. We appreciate the support and thanks for watching. Guys, thank you so much already for 1,000 likes. Keep liking the video. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know. If you are part of our live stream crew that watched the Kempire After Dark live experience live from New York, be sure to let us know in the replay crew as well. Thank you to everyone that came out to the New York City show and those that came that were a part of the live stream. And shout out to those of you that will be attending this year when we come to a city near you. Keep letting me know what city you want. That way I can navigate where I should go. Okay? All right. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to get out of here. Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.